Odanjo was once a village of light, where the river ran clear, and the earth was fertile. The people thrived under the watchful eyes of their ancestors, offering prayers at the sacred shrine nestled deep within the ancient forest. But there was one rule, one law that could never be broken. No one must ever touch the drums of the shrine. They sat upon a blackened altar, carved from the bones of a long-forgotten beast, wrapped in the skins of those who had once defied the gods. No one knew who placed them there. No elder, no seer, not even the oldest tree forest whispered their origin. They had always been. And so, the law was simple. Do not strike the drums. Do not wake what sleeps beneath. For the night they are played, Odanjo will cease to belong to the world. There was a time, long before the curse, when Odanjo's people knew only peace. But power tempts even the wisest, and in the season of the black moon, a man named Obadil craved more than peace. He was a great warrior, yet he was mortal, and mortals feared death. So, on the night when the wind stood still, when the river refused to flow, he entered the shrine alone. His fingers brushed against the ancient wood of the drums, rough and cold, as if something still lived within them. The village slept, unaware. Then, boom! A single strike. The air grew thick. Boom! Boom! The ground trembled beneath his feet. A whisper slithered through the darkness. You have called us. Obadil stepped back, but it was too late. The shrine split open, its foundations sinking into the earth. The trees twisted inward, their roots curling like grasping fingers. The night swallowed the stars, and the wind carried a sound never heard before. Laughter, layered and endless, stretching from the mouths of the long dead. Obadil never left that shrine. His screams never reached the village. By sunrise, the shrine was sealed again as if nothing had happened. But the drums remained. Waiting. Waiting for another to wake them. Generations passed. The legend became a warning. The warning became a whisper. But curses do not fade. They wait. And so, when Jabari, a reckless boy with dreams of power, walked into the shrine, he did not hear the past screaming at him to turn back. The air was thick with something unseen, something hungry. His hands trembled as he reached for the drums. And as his fingers brushed the cast skin, a single voice, hollow and ancient, spoke from the darkness. It has been too long. The drums sang once more. And Odanjo would never know peace again. The night was unnatural. The air in Odanjo lay thick and motionless, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Even the crickets, the eternal song of the African night, had fallen silent. A faint mist curled along the village paths, creeping like ghostly fingers toward the trees. More of twisted branches ahead. Something inside him stirred, an itch in his bones. He had grown up hearing the stories, the warnings whispered by the elders, the hushed prayers whenever the wind blew through the trees. The shrine of echoes must never be disturbed. But Jabari was not like the others. He did not fear shadows. He feared being ordinary. A foolish bet had been made earlier that evening. The other young men had challenged him, their voices dripping with mockery. You claim to be fearless, Jabari. Prove it. Go to the shrine. See if the spirits are real. Unless you're just a coward like the rest of us. Coward. That word had settled into Jabari's chest, burning like embers. And so, here he was. The trees shifted, leaves rustled, though there was no wind. A breath soft, cold, and inhuman brushed against his ear. Turn back. Jabari whirled around, heart hammering. No one was there. He swallowed hard, forcing himself forward. Foolish tales, he muttered under his breath. The darkness swallowed him whole. Jabari pushed through the dense undergrowth, his footsteps muffled by the damp earth. Something skittered in the trees above, moving too fast for his eyes to follow. His breath came out in ragged clouds. The deeper he went, the colder it became. The jungle heat was gone, replaced by an unnatural chill that seeped into his skin, making his bones ache. His hands trembled, though he refused to admit it. Then, he saw it. The shrine loomed before him, death's ruin swallowed by time. Its entrance was an archway of black stone carved with symbols that had long since faded. The walls were cracked, covered in crawling veins of deep red moss, as if the very earth was bleeding. Psst, the wind. Steeling himself, he stepped inside. Inside the shrine. The air inside was thick, pressing down on him like unseen hands. The ceiling stretched higher than it should have, disappearing into unnatural darkness. Shapes moved along the walls, just at the edge of his vision, flickering like candlelight. The shrine breathed. It was alive. Jabari exhaled sharply, pressing forward. His heartbeat thundered in his ears. Then, he saw them. The drums. They sat in the center of the chamber, untouched by time. The leather stretched across them was impossibly smooth, as if freshly made. The wood gleamed, despite centuries of dust coating everything else. A sharp ache bloomed in Jabari's skull. Boom. His vision blurred. A heartbeat that wasn't his own pounded in his ears. Boom. Boom. The drums called to him. Sweat dripped down his spine as he reached out. The moment his fingertips brushed the surface, the shrine trembled. The drum played by themselves. The air turned ice cold. Jabari's breath hitched as the darkness shifted. The walls shuddered, whispers growing louder, spiraling into a chorus of inhuman voices. He stumbled back. The whispers turned to laughter. Low, hollow, and wrong. Boom. Jabari froze. The drum had been struck. But not by him. Boom. Boom. His heart clenched. The sound wasn't just coming from the drums, it was coming from inside his chest. His body jerked forward, hands moving on their own. The drums played him now. Boom. 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 The shrine erupted. The walls split apart, revealing not stone, but shifting flesh. Mouths opened in the darkness, whispering his name. Shadows peeled from the walls, tall and thin, their heads tilting at unnatural angles. Jabari tried to scream. He had no mouth. Something crawled under his skin. Something entered. A cold presence slid into his mind. It was not alone. You have called us. Jabari's body twitched unnaturally. He was no longer in control. His own voice betrayed him, layering with voices that were not his own. You should not have come. The shadows surged forward, pouring into him, wrapping around his limbs. His fingers curled into claws, his spine arched, and his mouth opened in a silent, endless scream. His body turned toward the village. The drums played one final time. Boom. Across Odanjo, a heartbeat that did not belong to the living. It crawled through the village, slipping beneath doors, curling through open windows, and settling into the bones of every sleeping soul. Boom. 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 The first to awaken was Adisa, the village elder. His breath hitched as his chest tightened painfully, his own heartbeat syncing with the unnatural rhythm. His heart was dark, but something inside it moved. A whisper slithered through the shadows. He has opened the gate. Adisa gasped, gripping his staff. He turned sharply, only to see his own reflection staring at him from the far corner of the hut. But there was no mirror there. And his reflection was smiling. The signs of the curse. The village awoke to a world that was no longer theirs. Cattle wailed like dying men, their eyes turned milky white. The river, once clear and fresh, boiled, its surface bubbling with bones, some ancient, some freshly stripped of flesh. The trees that stood tall yesterday now bent inward, their trunks twisted into anguished faces frozen in silent screams. The villagers gathered, their faces pale with fear. Something was wrong. A woman shrieked, clutching her young son. His shadow was missing. A man stumbled forward, pointing at his own footprints in the dirt. They were moving on their own, retracing themselves. Then came the sound. Not quite footsteps. Not quite breathing. Something was dragging itself toward them. The crowd turned and froze. Jabari stood at the edge of the village. Or what was left of him. Jabari returns.